Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Gaura Dhawan Lal and with me is Renuka RS with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls for global cooperation to fight emerging threats at the 90th Interpol General Assembly in New Delhi. 12th Defence Expo begins in Gujarat. India underlines commitment to further defence engagements with African countries. Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan to initiate public consultations on National Credit Framework tomorrow. Maritime Heritage Complex at Lothal is India's resolve to celebrate its maritime heritage, says Prime Minister Modi. Union government approves increase in minimum support price for all Rabi crops for marketing season 2023-24. 7 people killed in a helicopter crash in Uttarakhand. And BCCI appoints Roger Binny as new chief, announces holding of inaugural Women's IPL next year. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has called for global cooperation to deal with terrorism, corruption, drug trafficking, poaching and organised crime. He said, when threats are global, the response cannot be local, as the pace of change of these dangers is faster than earlier. He was speaking at the 90th Interpol General Assembly in New Delhi today.
At a time when nations and society are becoming inward-looking, India calls for more, not less, international cooperation. Global cooperation for local welfare is our call.
The Prime Minister emphasized the need for the global community to work even faster to eliminate safe havens of criminal activities. He said there can be no safe havens for the corrupt, terrorists, drug cartels, poaching gangs or organized crime. On the threats of transnational terrorism, the Prime Minister said India has been combating it for several decades, even before the world recognized it. He said terrorism is no longer fought only in the physical space, but is spreading rapidly through online radicalization and cyber threats. He reiterated the need to further develop international strategies to tackle this menace.
At the click of button, an attack can be executed or systems can be brought to their knees. Each nation is working on strategies against them. But what we do within our borders in our longer enough, there is need to further develop international strategies. Establishment of early detection and warning systems, protecting transportation services, security for communication infrastructure, security for critical infrastructure, technical and technological assistance, intelligence actions, many of the things need to be taken to a new level.
On the dangers of corruption and financial crimes, the Prime Minister said these crimes have harmed the welfare of citizens of many countries. He said the corrupt take money from the poorest and then push them into illegal activities.
There are diverse legal and procedural framework to deal with them. However, there is a need for the global community to work even faster to eliminate safe havens. There can be no safe havens for the corrupt terrorists, drug cartels, poaching gangs or organized crime. Such crimes against people in one place are crimes against everyone, crimes against humanity.
Highlighting the role of Interpol in tackling global threats, the Prime Minister expressed hope that the 90th Interpol General Assembly will prove to be an effective and successful platform for tackling crime, corruption and terrorism. The Prime Minister released a commemorative postal stamp and a 100-rupee coin to mark the 90th Interpol General Assembly. Union Home Minister Amit Shah, Interpol President Ahmed Nasser Al-Rais, Interpol Secretary General Jürgen Stock, CBI Director Subodh Kumar Jaiswal and other dignitaries were present on the occasion.
The Narcotics Control Bureau has arrested 10 people associated with 3 interstate drug cartels in the past few days. According to an official press release issued by NCB's Deputy Director General, Southwest Region, Gyaneshwar Singh, a total of 7 kilograms of cocaine, 7,500 nitrazepam tablets, MDMA, LSD, hash oil and hashish has been seized. Jammu and Kashmir Liberation Front JKLF founder Yasin Malik is likely to appear before a special Tata court in person tomorrow for the cross-examination of the prosecution witnesses in two cases: the killing of 4 Indian Air Force officers and the abduction of Rubayya Saeed. He is currently in Tihar jail. AIR Jammu correspondent reports that the IAF official's case will be listed before the Jammu Special Court on 19th of October and the Rubayya Saeed case on 20th of October. A Tata court in Jammu on 21st of September issued a production warrant against Yasin Malik, directed the Tihar jail authorities to produce him physically before the court on the next date of hearing in the Rubayya Saeed abduction case. Malik had requested the court to allow him to appear physically to cross-examine the witnesses in the case.
In Uttarakhand, 7 people were killed in a helicopter crash today. The helicopter was ferrying pilgrims back from the Kedarnath temple to Gupt Kashi and crashed due to bad weather and poor visibility, killing all 7 people on board. Rudraprayag district's disaster management officer Nandan Singh said the chopper burst into flames near Garud Chatti. CEO of the Uttarakhand Civil Aviation Development Authority, C. Ravi Shankar, said the incident took place around 11:40 a.m. Police as well as State Disaster Response Force teams are carrying out the search and rescue operation. Mr. Shankar said the cause of the accident will be known after a proper investigation. President Draupadi Murmu expressed condolences over the loss of lives due to the helicopter crash. In a tweet, she described the mishap as very sad. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also expressed anguish over the helicopter crash. He said, in this tragic hour, his thoughts are with the bereaved families. Union Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia said that the central government is in touch with the state government to ascertain the magnitude of the loss and are constantly monitoring the situation. The 12th edition of the Biennial Defence Expo began in Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar, Gujarat today. Live demonstrations showcasing the equipment and skill set of the armed forces, DPSUs and the industry will be held during the 5-day event. The theme of the Def Expo 2022 is Path to Pride, in line with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision to transform India into a strong and self-reliant nation. The first ever Invest for Defence from the Ministry of Defence, targeted to promote investment in the defence sector in the country, will also be held in the expo. More from our correspondent.
This will be the largest ever defence expo, which will see participation from delegates from around 75 foreign countries. Over 1,300 exhibitors, including various defence PSUs, private industries, startup and states, will participate in the 5-day event, showcasing India's capability in defence manufacturing sector. Over 400 MOUs, several agreements and product launches are expected during Defence Expo 2022. The largest ever 1600 drone display at Gandhinagar, daily live demonstration by armed forces at Sabarmati riverfront and ship visits at Porbandar will be among the key attractions for the public at the expo. Aparna Khund, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh underlined India's commitment to explore new areas of convergence for defence engagements with African countries. The minister was addressing the India-Africa Defence Dialogue, IADD, which was held on the sidelines of Def Expo 2022 in Gandhinagar, Gujarat today. Defence ministers and other high-ranking officials from 50 African countries participated in the dialogue. Delivering the keynote address, Mr. Singh termed India and African countries as important stakeholders in ensuring a safe and secure maritime environment, especially in the Indian Ocean region.
India and Africa share a rich history of political, economic and cultural links. The feeling of solidarity, mutual trust and confidence born in the days of colonialism continues to drive India-Africa cooperation to this day. India has been one of the strongest advocates of African decolonization and has worked for the end of racist and apartheid regimes.
Stating that India has emerged as a leading defence exporter in recent years, the Defence Minister invited African countries to explore Indian defence equipment and technologies. He told his African counterparts that Indian defence industry can work with them to fulfill their defence requirements. Mr. Rajnath Singh also called for the democratization of global world order. He said that world's multilateral forums should be reflective of the change in global realities. A more representative UN Security Council will provide it with greater legitimacy. The Gandhinagar Declaration was adopted as an outcome document of IADD 2022. It proposes to enhance cooperation in the field of training in all areas of mutual interest. This would be done by increasing training slots, deputation of training teams, capability building of the Defence Forces of Africa, participation in exercises and humanitarian assistance during natural disasters. India offered fellowship for experts from African countries through Manohar Parrikar Institute for Defence Studies and Analysis. French Minister of State for Development, International Partnerships, Chrysoula Zacharopoulou called on Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh in New Delhi to discuss Indo-French collaboration in nuclear energy today. Ms. Zacharopoulou is being accompanied by a high-level French delegation on her India visit. The two sides have discussed ways to speed up the setting up of the nuclear power reactors at Jadavpur site in Ratnagiri district of Maharashtra by joint collaboration. During the meeting, Dr. Singh assured the French minister that tactical, financial and civil nuclear liability issues will be resolved by both the sides well before the scheduled visit of the French President Emmanuel Macron in early next year as announced by Ms. Zacharopoulou.
The Union Cabinet today approved an increase in the minimum support price MSP for all Rabi crops for the marketing season 2023-24. The highest increase has been cleared for lentils with a hike of 500 rupees per quintal. The MSP on wheat has been hiked by 110 rupees and barley by 100 rupees per quintal. Briefing the media after the Union Cabinet meeting in New Delhi, Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur said that the increase is in line with the Union Budget 2018-2019 announcement of fixing the MSP at a level of a minimum of 1.5 times of the All India weighted average cost of production.
कैबिनेट कमेटी ऑन इकोनॉमिक अफेयर्स ने आज जो 2022-23 सीजन के रबी की 6 फसलों के एमएसपी निर्धारित किए हैं वो उसी तर्ज पर है कि लागत प्लस 50% यानी कि 1.5 गुना ज्यादा। गेहूं में 110 रुपया वृद्धि की गई है, जौ को 100 रुपया बढ़ोतरी की गई, चना में 105 रुपये, मसूर में 500, सरसों 400 रुपये और कुसुम में 209 रुपये की वृद्धि की गई है।
Education and Skill Development Minister Dharmendra Pradhan has given his consent to start the process of public consultation on the National Credit Framework from tomorrow. Mr. Pradhan consented for public consultation while chairing a high-level meeting with the committee preparing the National Credit Framework for School Education, Higher Education and Skilling in New Delhi today. School Education Secretary Anita Karwal, Higher Education Secretary Sanjay Murthy and senior officials of the Education and Skill Development Ministry attended the meeting. Our correspondent reports that the government had approved the constitution of a high-level committee in November last year to develop a national credit accumulation and transfer framework for both vocational and general education. The credit framework would enable the integration of academic and vocational domains or components of learning and ensure flexibility and mobility between the two.
The government has extended the last date for submission of application for National Means Cum Merit Scholarship Scheme NMCMSS for the year 2022-23 till the 31st of October. Under the scheme, scholarships are awarded to meritorious students of economically weaker sections to arrest their dropout at Class 8 and encourage them to continue their education at secondary stage. The amount of scholarship is 12,000 rupees per annum. You are listening to the Evening News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls for global cooperation to fight emerging threats at the 90th Interpol General Assembly in New Delhi. 12th Defence Expo begins in Gujarat. India underlines commitment to further defence engagements with African countries. Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan to initiate public consultations on National Credit Framework tomorrow. Maritime Heritage Complex at Lothal is India's resolve to celebrate its maritime heritage, says Prime Minister Modi. Union government approves increase in minimum support price for all Rabi crops for marketing season 2023-24. 7 people killed in a helicopter crash in Uttarakhand. And BCCI appoints Roger Binney as new chief, announces holding of inaugural women's IPL next year. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का सुलभ और सस्ता माध्यम है आकाशवाणी।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न केंद्रों से कीजिए अपने उत्पादों और सेवाओं का प्रचार विज्ञापनों के माध्यम से।
लोकल और राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर कीजिए अपने बिजनेस का विस्तार, क्योंकि आकाशवाणी में विज्ञापन बुकिंग हुई बहुत ही आसान।
अब घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे आप कर सकते हैं विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
डायल कीजिए 870-001-4242।
नंबर एक बार फिर नोट करें, 870-001-4242।
I am India. Look at me. Know my name. We're one of the most mega diverse countries on this planet.
Our weddings, our fashion statements, they're all inspired by our silver screen heroes and heroines.
A 75 years young India. What we are really going to see India become is a powerhouse. India 2.2.
The Journey of India from 14th October every Friday at 7 p.m. in Hindi and 10 p.m. in English on DD National.
Welcome back to the evening news from All India Radio. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that National Maritime Heritage Complex at Lothal is the country's resolve to celebrate India's rich maritime history. The Prime Minister was speaking and reviewing the progress of the National Maritime Heritage Complex at Lothal in Gujarat through video conferencing today. Mr. Modi said India has had a rich and diverse maritime heritage for thousands of years, which is less talked about. He said it is time to change our mindset towards heritage sites and it is our duty to preserve our heritage for future generations.
हमारे इतिहास की ऐसी अनेक गाथाएं हैं जिन्हें भुला दिया गया। उन्हें सुरक्षित करने और अगली पीढ़ी तक पहुंचाने के रास्ते नहीं खोजे गए। इतिहास की उन घटनाओं से हम कितना कुछ सीख सकते थे। भारत की समुद्री विरासत भी ऐसा विषय है जिसके बारे में बहुत कम चर्चा की गई है। सदियों पहले के भारत का व्यापार कारोबार दुनिया के एक बड़े हिस्से में छाया हुआ था।
The Prime Minister underlined the contributions of the Chola Empire, the Chera dynasty, Pandya dynasty and Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj in his address, reaffirming the government's commitment to revamping sites of historical significance. The Prime Minister said the government will return Dholavira and Lothal to its former pride and glory.
जैसे एकता नगर में स्टैच्यू ऑफ यूनिटी में हर रोज पर्यटकों के आने का रिकॉर्ड बन रहा है, वैसे ही वो दिन दूर नहीं जब देश के कोने कोने से लोथल में लोग इस हेरिटेज कॉम्प्लेक्स को देखने आएंगे। इससे यहाँ रोजगार और स्वरोजगार के हजारों नए अवसर बढ़ेंगे। इस क्षेत्र को इस बात का भी लाभ मिलेगा कि ये अहमदाबाद से बहुत दूर नहीं है।
Union Minister for Agriculture and Farmers Welfare Narendra Singh Tomar has announced 500 crore rupees accelerator program for startups in the agriculture sector. Announcing several initiatives at Agri Startup Conference in New Delhi, Mr. Tomar said that a network will be set up under the Agriculture Ministry to help and support the agri startups, and for overall planning, a steering committee will be set under the chairmanship of Agriculture Minister. Mr. Tomar added that a separate division for such startups will be created at the ministry under the chairmanship of Joint Secretary. The Indian Railways is running 211 special trains for the convenience of rail travellers to meet the festival season rush. The Indian Railways has said special trains have been planned to connect major destinations like Darbhanga, Azamgarh, Saharsa, Bhagalpur, Muzaffarpur, Firozpur, Patna, Katihar and Amritsar. The ministry said Railways has notified additional 32 special services to ensure smooth and comfortable travel for the passengers during this festive season, while 179 special services were notified earlier.
Russia on Tuesday confirmed new strikes on power facilities in Ukraine after Kyiv said The energy situation was critical across the country following renewed attacks. The Russian Defense Ministry, in its daily update, said the Russian armed forces have continued to strike Ukrainian military command and energy systems with long-range air and sea-based high-precision weapons. Power, New and Renewable Energy Minister R.K. Singh has said that the global dependence on fossil fuels is unhealthy, not only for the environment but also for the country. Mr. Singh said this at the inauguration of the 5th Assembly of the International Solar Alliance in New Delhi today. He added that most experts have agreed that power generation through solar photovoltaic systems is the most cost-effective and fastest solution. He added that more than 650 million people in the world do not have access to power supply.
Our objective is that we have to bring electricity, we have to give access to energy to almost about 700 million people in this world who are without access to energy. And we want to give access to energy to these people through renewable sources, through green sources. So it has to be an expansion of access. That is the priority, and that expansion of access has to be through clean and green sources.
Over the past 75 years since independence, India's largest public service broadcaster, All India Radio, has been the proverbial storyteller for crores of people across the country. All India Radio is celebrating 75 years of freedom with the series Azad Bharat Ki Baat Akashvani ke Saath. It showcases the journey of India since independence in various walks of life through the storytelling of All India Radio. In today's episode, we bring you the story of Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao scheme, which aims to bring about a transformational shift in the way our society looks at the girl child.
In the last 8 years, central government has given a lot of emphasis on the issue of girl-child's education and declining child sex ratio, CSR. The main objective of the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao scheme is to ensure survival and protection of the girl child. It also ensures education and participation of the girl child through coordinated and convergent efforts. The scheme was launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in 2015 at Panipat in Haryana. Mr. Modi said there is an urgent need to reduce the increasing imbalance amongst the girl and boy child for the betterment of the society.
गांव, पंचायत, परिवार, समाज के लोग, इन सब ने दायित्व निभाना पड़ेगा और तभी जाकर के हम इस असंतुलन को मिटा सकते हैं। ये रातों रात मिटने वाला नहीं है। करीब करीब 50 साल से ये पाप चला है। आने वाले 100 साल तक हमें जागरूक रूप से प्रयास करना पड़ेगा, तब जाकर के शायद इस स्थिति को हम सुधार पाएंगे। और इसलिए मैंने कहा, आज का ये जो पानीपत की धरती पर हम संकल्प कर रहे हैं, ये संकल्प आने वाली सदियों तक पीढ़ियों की भलाई करने के लिए है।
After the launch of the scheme, the child sex ratio at birth has improved to 937 in 2020-21 from 918 in 2014-15. Gross enrollment ratio for women in higher education has increased from 19.8% in 2012-13 to 27.3% in 2019-20. Mr. Modi said, expanded in a phased manner, the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao scheme is currently being implemented in all the 640 districts of the country. The scheme is divided into 3 components. First, advocacy campaigns were launched to address the issue of declining child sex ratio and sex ratio at birth. Second, multi-sectoral interventions were planned and have been implemented in gender-critical districts across the country. And third, a financial incentive-linked scheme, Sukanya Samriddhi scheme, was launched to encourage parents to build a fund for female children. Sunil Jaglan, Sarpanch of Bibipur village in Haryana, came up with an interesting initiative, Selfie with Daughter, to save the girl child and spread awareness about the issue.
जब सेल्फी विद डॉटर के बारे में हमने सोशल मीडिया पर और दोस्तों के सामने शेयर किया तो कुछ खास व्यूज नहीं आए, लेकिन मुझे ये पता था कि हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री से लेकर युवाओं में सेल्फी का बहुत बड़ा क्रेज है और हमें आगे आने वाली जनरेशन को अगर लिंगानुपात की संवेदनशीलता का महत्व समझाना है तो इसके लिए जरूरी है कि यूथ सोशल मीडिया को एक वेपन की तरह यूज करे ताकि लिंगानुपात संवेदनशीलता का महत्व उनके दिमाग पर असर कर जाए।
Prime Minister Modi in his Mann Ki Baat program lauded the Bibipur Sarpanch for starting the Selfie with Daughter initiative. The Prime Minister also urged people to share their selfies with daughters, and it soon became a worldwide hit. People from across India and the world shared their selfies with daughters, and this became a proud occasion for all those
Former Indian cricketer Roger Binny has been appointed as the new president of the Board of Control for Cricket in India, BCCI. The 67-year-old was elected unopposed during BCCI's annual general meeting held today at the Taj Hotel in Mumbai. The BCCI also approved to conduct the inaugural edition of the Women's IPL in 2023. BCCI Secretary Jay Shah, outgoing President Saurav Ganguly, Treasurer Arun Dhumal and Vice President Rajiv Shukla were present at the meeting. With his appointment, Binny becomes the first ever former World Cup winner to become BCCI's president.
Sri Lankan author Shehan Karunatilaka won the 2022 Booker Prize for his second novel, The Seven Moons of Mali Almeida. The Booker Prize is one of the most prestigious literary awards in the world. 47-year-old Karunatilaka becomes the second Sri Lankan to win the prestigious £50,000 literary prize awarded to him at a ceremony in London on Monday night after Michael Ondaatje, who won for it The English Patient in 1992.
The Sensex and the Nifty today climbed around 1% amid positive cues from global share markets. The Sensex closed above 58,900 level, while the Nifty settled above the 17,450 points. A report from the business desk.
The Sensex rose 550 points or 0.94% to finish at 58,961. Nifty also surged 175 points or 1.01% to end at 17,487. At the multi-commodity exchange, gold futures for December was trading at 50,490 rupees per 10 grams. Silver futures for December was trading at 56,615 rupees per kilogram, and oil prices fell around 0.5% in intraday trade. Brent crude was trading at $91.50 per barrel. Lalema Aneja Dang for AIR News.
In Assam, Kati Bihu is being observed across the state today. Kati or Kongali Bihu marks a crucial phase of the year for every farming household in terms of the beginning of the harvest season and the relocation time of rice saplings. Governor of Assam, Professor Jagdish Mukhi, Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma and other senior leaders wished people on the occasion of the Kati Bihu.
And now let's take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi is expected to have mainly clear skies. The minimum temperature will be 18 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 32 degrees. Mumbai will have partly cloudy skies with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Kolkata will have partly cloudy skies with the possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. Chennai is expected to have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Srinagar is expected to have mainly clear skies, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Jammu will have mainly clear skies, becoming partly cloudy towards the afternoon or evening. Muzaffarabad will also have partly cloudy skies with the possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. Leh will have rain or snow. The temperature will vary between -3 and 10 degrees Celsius. In the south, Hyderabad will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. Bengaluru will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. Thiruvananthapuram will have generally cloudy sky with a few spells of rain or thunder showers. Itanagar is expected to have mainly clear skies. In the northeast, Guwahati, Shillong, Gangtok, Agartala, Imphal, Aizawl and Kohima will have generally cloudy skies with light rain. And now before we close, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls for global cooperation to fight emerging threats at the 90th Interpol General Assembly in New Delhi. 12th Defence Expo begins in Gujarat. India underlines commitment to further defence engagements with African countries. Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan to initiate public consultations on National Credit Framework tomorrow. Maritime Heritage Complex at Lothal is India's resolve to celebrate its maritime heritage, says Prime Minister Modi. Union government approves increase in minimum support price for all Rabi crops for marketing season 2023-24. 7 people killed in a helicopter crash in Uttarakhand. BCCI appoints Roger Binny as new chief, announces holding of inaugural Women's IPL next year. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.gov.in. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.